And I have Aaron from PassSource actually driving for me. Feedback. Feedback is the #1 thing that improves student learning, but it's incredibly difficult. This is Mark. Mark is a rock star teacher at Uncommon Schools, one of our pilot schools in Boston. Mark spends over 70 hours per week giving feedback on student work. He does everything that you're supposed to do. He turns his students' papers back within a day. He gives specific, meaningful comments on everything that they turn in. But this is incredibly difficult, and he's on the verge of burnout. As we spoke more to Mark, we learned that there were huge gaps in existing solutions that limited why he didn't use them. To start with, most of the existing products were only multiple choice. And this is because this is easy, not because it's better. Mark tells us that 75% of the questions that he assigns are formats other than multiple choice. So that was a big limitation. Another thing was that all the existing products require manual data entry to do analysis. And finally, the other category of products require 1 device per child, which he doesn't have. So that's why the Gradeable platform allows teachers to give feedback on any question type with no data entry, and it works with 1 device per classroom or less. Let me explain what that looks like. So as we spoke more to Mark, we learned that his school has made a big investment in technology by buying a single laptop cart. But that's shared, so most of the time he's doing assessments that are still on paper. So what we realized was that we needed to make a bridge between paper and digital. So we built a mobile app, and we actually hired an industrial designer from RISD to also build this, what we call our grading inbox. So Mark keeps it on his desk, and when students hand in their work, it functions as a scanner and automatically gathers student work. So we're able to basically collect a digital portfolio of student work over time. There are a couple of different ways you can get assessments into our system, and that's just one of them. But let's start at the beginning. Let me show you how Mark actually gets set up in the system. So this is Mark's dashboard inside of Gradeable, and it shows all of his assessments. And we've designed to make it easy to let Mark use all of his existing assessments, which he frequently keeps as Word documents. Mark can go into the dashboard and can click on the Import Existing button and is able to upload a Word document directly to the Gradeable system. Once it's in there, Mark is able to go back and review it or edit it within our really intuitive assessment creation screen. So it's designed to let him very easily switch between different formats of questions, multiple choice, open response. He can change the number of points. He can add different question answers. There's even room for him to enter a rubric or answer key that will appear as he's grading. So once he's done kind of tweaking his questions, he can go back and he can look at the whole page, review the layout, and we actually put an augmented reality code on the bottom of the page so that we can later tag it. He prints this out and photocopies it and gives it to his students exactly as he normally would. Now, once he's done with that, he can use, there are 3 different ways that you can get assessments into our system. So there's the mobile app and the stand, which I showed you already. But Gradeable also basically processes any PDF document. So he can use any printer that has scanning capability, can basically either email us a PDF or go to our website, and from the Upload Scans button, he can just press a button and upload a PDF. And you can actually use any smartphone that has a mobile app that lets you do scans, like Evernote or Cam Scanner. And once the PDFs are in our system, then we do our magic. So Gradeable actually automatically grades multiple choice questions using OCR. And we give Mark this nifty interface that lets him quickly score and give feedback on student questions. So this first question, you can see we're asking, who's a better basketball player, Larry Bird or Magic Johnson? Now, we've basically built a bunch of tools in here that will let Mark give feedback on this quickly. So clearly, this student got this question wrong because it's obviously Larry Bird. I'm from Boston. But anyway, he can drag and drop comments so that the 10th student who makes a mistake can get the same meaningful feedback as the first. He can change the number of points, and he can quickly go between full credit and no credit. So The process is quick and simple and mimics what he's doing right now. And we basically use the process that he's already doing as data collection. Once he's done, we take it one final step further, and we know that what Mark most wants and what he most cares about is what he needs to teach. So we take that data and we crunch it up. This is designed so that Mark can look at it immediately and see that Amelia, one of his students, is struggling the most. And if he wants to go deeper, we've given him tools like item analysis, where he can, for example, because we're digitizing everything, you can pull up all of the wrong responses so that he can quickly start to look at patterns and trends and try and understand what his students' learning gaps are so that he can address them right away. We've hired a machine learning expert who's we're trying to build out more and more ways that we can analyze what students don't understand and make that immediately actionable. So at this point, Mark is done with grading, and all he needs to do is click a button and he can export a CSV file of his results, or he can also generate a PDF with annotated results that he can give back to his students. He could print this out, or he could email it to them. And this is just a quick summary of the comments and the feedback that he's given. So that's a quick overview of a lot of what we've been working on. The system was really designed to let teachers kind of avoid the problem where, teacher math, if you've got 100 students and you give a 10-question quiz, it could take you 6 hours to grade that. Finally, one other way that we can give that feedback is that we're automatically collecting a digital archive of student work over time. And we see this as being one of the most powerful features of the product, because in reality, those documents could be anything. It could be a photo of a circuit diagram that a student's created in a PBL project. It could be a digital assessment. It could be an essay. It could be anything. But the most important thing is that we're making it possible for the teacher to give rich, meaningful, and personal feedback on everything. And we can easily, we're planning to integrate with products like Evernote and Google Drive so that we can kind of let teachers and students maintain their own archives over time. So that's kind of a lot of the stuff that we've built so far. But a quick preview of some of the things that we are trying to do. I've worked in analytics for a long time, and I know that teachers have a really unique relationship to data. And I've had a teacher tell me that they don't want to think about data. They don't want to think of their students as numbers. They want to think about their students as people, and they want to focus on the relationships with them. And that's actually what we would want, I think, from our teachers as well. And so I can kind of guarantee that we're the only analytics product out there that's designed to make students smile when they look at a chart. We're also working on, our developers right now are working on how to integrate Common Core tagging so that we can do standards-based grading and launch that for the fall. So what have we learned so far? We've been piloting. We finished the first version of our product in January, and we've been piloting since then with the Uncommon Schools Network, who've literally written the book on data-driven instruction. They've given us some great feedback so far, and we've learned that they not only think our product works, but they are going to be using it more broadly, and they're going to be paying for it starting this fall. We've learned that teachers share tools that they love, and that they're already sharing Gradeable. Even though we haven't launched yet, we've got about almost 5,000 teachers signed up to use it. Trust is very important, and we're going to open up the product for free this summer. So we're looking for teachers to try it, and we have bootstrapped to date, but are going to start we're looking for investors. So I'll wrap up there.
Well done.
And look for feedback from all of you.
Yeah.
So I want to beat Robert to the punch.
Go for it.
And ask.
That's always
your
difficult.
Sure. So our team is myself, and I have a background in product development, a former teacher, designer, and a technologist.
So is that 4 people, or it's you?
That's 4 people.
Okay.
I wish.
What's your pricing model for the schools?
So what we'll probably do is part of our go-to-market strategy is going directly to teachers. So we'll probably have a really low cost version that's available for teachers, like $5 to $10 a month. And then we'll have a higher priced enterprise version with more kind of sharing and analytics for schools. We'll probably also have something for free available so teachers can try it.
So what's
Obviously.
the difference between $5 to $10 a month versus free? Is the free the real product, or is it a time-limited thing? Or?
So we're looking at things like Evernote, which lets teachers get some basic functionality out of the product and kind of use it. And then for things that are expensive for us to do, like storage and processing, we'll probably start to limit those and charge for those.
Yeah, I think Evernote is every feature, which is an important distinction.
Yeah.
But when you get to a certain usage storage, defined by storage, then it goes up.
Yeah, you could do it per number of tests or.
Yeah, so we're thinking about things like that. One thing is that there's a lot of research that shows that the more you assess, the more students retain and learn. So we're trying to do it less around usage and more around different metrics of engagement. But we're going to test that. We haven't launched yet.
So with regard to the documents, it looked like they had to be Word documents. Is that true?
Well, if you're going to import them directly, but you can also just go straight into it. You can go straight into the product and create an assessment from scratch, too. So we've only built a little bit of backend to support Word documents because so many teachers told us that they kept all their files in there. We can definitely extend that in the future. We just haven't done it at this point yet.
Most students don't yet have iPads in the classroom, but that's coming if it's, it's coming. Are you thinking about doing a version for sending the test straight to the iPad so the kid takes the test on the iPad without even using paper and that saves you the scan time? Yeah,
it's easier for us to do digital than it is to do paper, but we thought it was important to reach teachers where they are today. I also have talked to people a professor from San Francisco State came up to me today and said that there's research that shows that there are reasons that doing certain activities on paper is better, and I think that there are use cases where paper is better. So I think it's really important to be able to switch interchangeably for different settings.
So we heard earlier from Crowdmark.
Yep.
And one of the differences, it seems, between their approach and what you're doing is that their idea of, you can have multiple people sort of grading tests and so forth.
Sure.
Can you talk a little bit, it sounds like your usage model is really strictly single teacher and that teacher's kind of tribe of kids. Talk a little bit about that decision. Is that one that is irrevocable? Is that one that you want to think through?
Sure. So I think it has a lot to do with how we sort of approach the problem. I really approach the problem starting with K through 12 teachers, and there's much more of there's an issue of trust, right? So, I mean, the first teacher I talked to was a teacher at a private school, and I think that parents are going to want to know that their specific teacher is giving feedback on their child's work. I think it's different when you're looking at a MOOC where it's more about scale. But I really believe that moment of feedback where a teacher is looking at something that a student has written and evaluating it and saying, this is the correction that you need to make. That's not a commodity. It shouldn't be. It's this really important relationship that I believe is worth preserving. And we just want to take all of the kind of data entry and kind of rote stuff out of it so that moment becomes more important and more valuable.
Have you thought about building a piece that talks to the parent or passes the parent the results and gives the parent some idea of what's going on in the classroom and how his kids or her kids doing?
Definitely. I think parents are going to really want to be able to see the results of this. And I think that by making it digital, parents already teachers will send home a lot of work, right? But I've had a lot of parents come to me and say they can't wait until that archive of work is online and they can just go and access it easily and they can see comments. So that's completely that's exactly what we would be hoping to aim for.
I think there's a company called Edline, which Blackboard bought, that
Yeah.
has large elements of this put in, and it has, I think, a pretty big installed base. Would you see yourself as competitors with a big incumbent like that, or are you kind of complementary then with a better interface and beautiful design?
So I do believe, I know that there are a lot of products that have tried to do this, but when I've talked to teachers who are I haven't met a lot of them who are actually using those products, and so what I've heard is that a lot of those products are just difficult and
they're overpriced as well.
Yeah.
They're cumbersome to use.
There are a lot of, that's why I really wanted to focus in very specifically on this one interaction, make it super easy. We don't want to be a grade book or an LMS, and it's easy for us, and a lot of people are coming to us and they want our data, and I'm happy to do that, but I believe that making that feedback loop between parent, teacher, student faster and better is really where we want to be. And so if we can do that, then we can integrate with other systems and we can just make that process cleaner. So
And you can export all the data so it can integrate into an LMS or
Yeah,
something
yeah.
else?
So we've already had a couple of companies like Kickboard and eScholar come to us, and we're working on trying to figure out how do we integrate with them.
Awesome. Let's hear it for Gradeable.
So thank you.
Okay.